Finn was a curious boy who loved adventures and jam sandwiches, especially his grandma Helga's strawberry jam, which he thought was simply magical. One day, while visiting her, Finn discovered a mysterious jar of jam hidden in the back of her pantry. The jar was decorated with golden ornaments, and the label read, "Only for true adventurers." Grandma Helga explained that it was magical and could lead anyone who ate it to a unique adventure. When she briefly left the room, Finn couldn't resist. He opened the jar, spread a generous layer on a piece of bread, and took a bite. Suddenly, everything around him began to spin. The kitchen walls disappeared, and Finn found himself in a colorful world filled with giant plants and strange sounds. In front of him stood a forest of enormous toasters, launching warm slices of bread into the air. Finn sensed that something big was about to happen. Finn blinked and looked around. The trees were giant toasters that continuously shot slices of bread into the air. Suddenly, a small bird with a jam jar on its head fluttered toward him. "You must be Finn," chirped the bird. "I'm Marmelino. You've landed in Jamland, and we need your help." Finn learned that the jam crown of Queen Confitura had been stolen, and without it, the land would dry up. Just as Finn wanted to ask more, a loud clattering sound rang out. From the bushes emerged small, crumbly creatures, armed with pretzel swords. "The Crumb Knights!" "Run, Finn!" shouted Marmelino. Finn leapt aside, dodged flying slices of bread, and ran for his life. The Crumb Knights were close on his heels, but Finn managed to escape. "That was close," he panted. Marmelino nodded. "That was just the beginning. It's going to get harder." Marmelino led Finn to a hidden door made of gingerbread that led to the cookie catacombs. "The key to the crown is hidden here," explained Marmelino, "but the catacombs are full of traps." Finn pushed open the door and entered a long, dark tunnel. The walls sparkled like sugar crystals, and the floor was covered with cookie crumbs. Suddenly, he triggered a trap. A candy avalanche came rolling toward him. "Jump!" cried Marmelino. Finn dived onto a raised ledge and barely escaped. Farther ahead, he spotted a glowing shelf filled with cookies. He grabbed a large, heart-shaped cookie, but as he did, the walls began to close in. Finn bit into the cookie, and a magical light spread out, stopping the walls. A hidden tunnel opened, and Marmelino shouted, "On to the jam lake!" Ahead of Finn and Marmelino lay a sparkling lake made of jam. In the center was an island where the jam crown sat. "There it is!" shouted Finn, but Marmelino warned, "We must pass Luffalix, the guardian." At the shore, a giant, talking spoon appeared. "No one crosses the lake unless they make me laugh," boomed Luffalix. Finn thought hard and then began making silly faces. He hopped on one leg, mimicked Marmelino, and sang an improvised song about jam sandwiches. Luffalix roared with laughter. "You're funny. Go to the crown," he said. The lake transformed into a sticky bridge, and Finn ran to the island. The crown was almost within his reach, but the adventure was far from over. Just as Finn touched the crown, Sir Smear, the sinister jam thief, appeared. "Give me the crown," he hissed, throwing a sticky net made of sugar threads. Finn dodged and grabbed a cookie from the catacombs. With a well-aimed throw, he hit Sir Smear, who became tangled in his own net. "Let me go," screamed Sir Smear, but Finn stood firm. "Only if you promise never to threaten Jamland again." Sir Smear reluctantly agreed. Finn grabbed the crown, placed it on his head, and a bright light surrounded him. He was teleported back to the lake, where Marmelino cheered. "We did it!" the bird exclaimed. Back in the forest of flying toasters, Queen Confitura and her subjects were waiting. Finn placed the crown on her head, and the land instantly sparkled with renewed life. The toaster trees resumed their work, and the jam rivers gleamed like never before. "Finn, you're our hero," said the queen gratefully. Marmelino proudly fluttered around him. Suddenly, the world began to blur, and Finn felt himself gently pulled back. When he opened his eyes, he was back in Grandma's kitchen. The jar of jam sat before him, now empty and unassuming. "So, Finn?" Grandma Helga asked with a wink. "Was the jam special?" Finn grinned. "Grandma, that was the best jam in the world." Finn told Grandma Helga every detail of his adventure. She laughed and said, "Sometimes the greatest magic is hidden in the smallest things." From that day on, Finn knew that every jam sandwich could be the start of a new adventure, with a little courage, imagination, and a pinch of magic. And though he secretly hoped to return to Jamland one day, he realized that the greatest adventures often wait where you least expect them.